Officers responding to a disturbance call arrived to find a physical fight in progress, a shotgun on the ground, a loose dog, and multiple people screaming conflicting information at the same time. What happened in the next 90 seconds is what this episode is about. When officers arrive at an active scene with a weapon on the ground, a fight still happening, and bystanders rushing toward them instead of away, every second is a decision. Who is the threat? Where is the gun? Who called for help and who is the problem? This footage captures one of the most chaotic entry scenarios law enforcement trains for: a multi-person disturbance with a firearm present and no clear picture of who is who. Tonight we break down how officers are trained to manage that chaos, what the law says about detaining everyone on scene, and what you should do if you are ever a bystander caught in a situation like this one. Know your rights before you need them. Before we continue, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments, we love to see it. And if this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. We cover police accountability and legal education every week so you are never caught off guard when it counts. Pin comment. Where are you watching from? Drop your city below. The first thing you hear on this footage is a civilian repeatedly screaming the location of a gun. That information is critical, and officers are right to treat it that way. When law enforcement arrives at a scene where a firearm has been reported or is visible, their immediate legal authority expands significantly. Under Terry v. Ohio, 1968, officers may detain individuals when there is reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime has occurred or is occurring. A fight in progress with a shotgun on the ground satisfies that threshold immediately and for every person present. Notice what the officers are doing in the first 30 seconds. They are not focused on the gun first, they are focused on hands. You hear it repeated: show me your hands. Show me your hands. This is standard threat assessment protocol. A weapon on the floor is a known danger. Hands that are not visible are an unknown danger. Officers are trained to resolve the unknown before securing the known. The bystanders who came out to help were shouting exactly that: we came out to help. But from an officer's perspective arriving cold on a chaotic scene, that distinction cannot be assumed. Everyone in the immediate area of an unsecured firearm during an active altercation is a potential threat until the scene is controlled. The commands in this footage are loud, overlapping, and relentless, and that is not an accident. When multiple officers are on a scene with multiple subjects, command presence is a tactical tool. Loud, clear, repeated commands serve two purposes. They communicate urgency to the subject, and they establish on the record that lawful orders were given. In any subsequent legal proceeding, the number of times a command was issued matters. Now the dog. Multiple people on scene are shouting about it: get your dog, don't shoot my dog. This is a real legal and tactical issue. Under Florida law and the laws of most states, officers are legally permitted to use force against an animal that poses an imminent threat to their safety. Courts have generally upheld this. The people on scene clearly knew this was a risk, which is why they kept calling for the dog to be controlled. If you are ever in a situation like this, getting control of your animal is not just about the dog. It is about removing a variable that could escalate the entire scene. One bystander repeatedly states, "I am not a part of this." That may be true. But under Illinois versus Cabal and broader Fourth Amendment case law, officers managing an active scene with a weapon present have broad authority to briefly detain all individuals in the immediate area until the scene is secure. Being innocent does not exempt you from a temporary detention when a gun is on the ground and a fight is still happening. If this breakdown is helping you understand what officers are legally allowed to do in high-pressure situations, and what your rights are inside of that, hit subscribe. New episodes every week. Stay for the legal close. It is the most practical part of this episode. Pin comment. If you came outside to help and got detained, would you have stayed on the ground or tried to explain yourself? Yes to staying down or no? Drop it below, backhand index pointing down. As the scene stabilizes, 3 people are detained and the shotgun is being secured. An officer confirms on radio, "I have a shotgun on the ground here," and calls for a medical unit to stage for a male with lacerations on his hand, noting clearly that the injuries were not caused by officers. That radio communication matters. Documenting the origin of injuries on scene, before transport, before booking, is standard procedure and legally protective for everyone involved. If that documentation did not happen and those lacerations appeared later, the origin would be disputed. The officer calling it out proactively closes that question. There is also a brief reference to OC exposure, likely pepper spray used at some point during the altercation or the dog situation. The supervising officer confirms, aside from OC exposure, any other injuries? That question establishes a baseline medical assessment on record before anyone leaves the scene. 3 people detained. 1 weapon secured. 1 injury documented. The scene went from complete chaos to controlled in under 2 minutes. That is what a coordinated response looks like, and it is worth understanding what the law permits officers to do to get there. Here are 3 things you can take from this footage and apply directly.
Male with lacerations on his hand.
When there is a gun on the ground, everyone in the area can be detained. You do not have to be the shooter, the fighter, or even involved. If you are present at a scene where a firearm is unsecured and a crime is occurring, officers have the legal authority under Terry v. Ohio to detain you temporarily while they sort out what happened. The correct response is compliance first. Your chance to explain comes after the scene is controlled, not during it. 2. Saying "I came out to help" does not change your legal status in that moment. Good intentions are real, but they are invisible to officers arriving on a chaotic scene. If you are a bystander who steps outside during a disturbance involving a weapon, you become part of the scene whether you want to or not. The safest thing you can do is stay low, keep your hands visible, follow commands, and wait. Your explanation will be heard, just not while the gun is still on the ground. 3. Control your dog before officers have to. This is practical and urgent. In an active scene involving a firearm, an uncontrolled dog is not just a pet issue, it is a use of force variable. Courts have consistently upheld an officer's right to protect themselves from an animal they perceive as a threat. If you are ever caught in a situation like this one, securing your dog immediately removes a dangerous unknown from an already dangerous scene. That is badge check. If this episode helped you understand something you did not know before, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe so you never miss a weekly breakdown. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read all of them. Know your rights before you need them.